Yeah, so you can see right here, this is I believe an optional boss battle against a Rancor, and I think this is part of a side mission that you can do, if I'm not mistaken. And
I don't. You did not fight a Rancor in the first game, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, this is cool. Like, I'm excited to see this. It's funny, I forget that it's like, oh yeah, there's like a bunch of Star Wars monsters and stuff that I'm like excited about. You know? Like,
Yeah. And you can see right here, he just switched over to the new stance in this game, which is the dual wield stance. And, you could do the two lightsaber thing, I guess kind of a spoiler alert for the end of Fallen Order, but it wasn't like a full-on stance. This is one of the new stances that they're adding, because in the first game, the only two full stances were like the single lightsaber and then the dual blade, where it was kind of like Darth Maul, where you have like the one lightsaber with two blades. But we saw very briefly there he had the dual wield, and there he is again with it. And basically that is a more offensive stance. Like, the single lightsaber is kind of balanced, the double blade is kind of crowd control, and the dual wield is more offensive. And this player, they weren't as good as me, so they got eaten. But let's jump over to some other footage.
So this is still the same planet, Brian? Right?
Yes.
Part?
So the outpost is what his primary goal is when he first comes to the planet. He is looking for this outpost where Grease is said to be kind of living and existing and doing his thing in. So existing, yeah. And so he's looking for the cantina, and there's these people hanging out over there. You can talk to them.
That area seemed big. One thing you had in your written preview, which I've read, this is my first time seeing this gameplay, but you said that the map system was a little friendlier and like gave you less one-way roads and stuff like that, which seemed nice.
There was one part, and I have to be careful the way I talk about some of it because there are some restrictions about what I can and can't say. But there was one part where there was a one-way slide, which was one of the biggest frustrations about the maps in Fallen Order. And I was like, oh, it's back. And then I looked, and it was like, oh, wait, you can run up the walls. And, like, it kind of subverted your expectations of, like, oh, great, no more of these one-way slides. And it's like, no, you can just run up the walls and kind of go against it. But now we're getting a look at the skill tree here. So you saw earlier that you can just basically trade out your lightsaber stances like a loadout, essentially. This is at the meditation point that we are currently upgrading. You can also rest, which refills your health and your stim packs. Right now, the player is upgrading the dual wield stance. So this is a focused parry where basically you press Y or triangle if you're playing on PlayStation, and his lightsabers like levitate. It's a weird thing because the stance is so offensive. You don't have like a traditional parry, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong there, but like I think that was considered the parry, is like you hold the top face button, the lightsabers levitate, and then if somebody attacks, you can release and perform like a really devastating attack. So this monster, God, what is it called? It is called a bile maul. And
I'm impressed that you just have that at the top of your head.
So this is just one of the creatures you stumble upon, and I fought several of these. I like this little move he does where he rolls over. But he also vomits all over you as well. But yeah, first, there's some of these creatures, like, I'm not ashamed to admit that I got killed several times by some of these characters. There's one that's called the Mogu, which is like a... what's the...
No relationship to Grogu?
No relationship to Grogu, because it's more like I'm forgetting... Of course, I'm getting all these names right, but I'm forgetting like the Abominable Snowman character on Hoth in Empire.
Right.
But
Wampa.
Yeah. So he looked like, I kept wanting to say Tauntaun, but I knew that wasn't right. And but it looked like a brown, like non-snow version of that. And that thing messed me up for a while. But then later on in the demo, I encountered him again. It was one of those things where it's like a big deal when you encountered him the first time, and then after that, he's just a normal enemy that pops up every once in a while. And the first time I got just destroyed by him, and then the rest of the times I ran right through him. So this is one part I did not play, but this is like it appears to be like one of like the time trial challenges that you have. You can see there's a clock in the upper corner, and it seems like it's going to be pretty challenging with the way that that force field is kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, it looks like you kind of stumble across these, right? It's not like all. It almost is like, is this like happening in a dream? I don't know, but this is like, I'm into this. Like, this is cool.